What's up, everybody? It is Matt Modai with OddsJam, and for this video, I am talking the series between the Jazz and the Mavericks. So, going into the last game of the NBA season, I thought this was going to be a pretty interesting series, but I would have probably taken the Mavericks to win in 5 or 6. I think the Jazz are just imploding. That team's ready to give up. But unfortunately, Luka Doncic strained his calf, and that just threw everything out the door. If the Mavericks don't have Luka, then they have almost no chance in this series, in my opinion. He is a huge, the most important, one of the most important players in the NBA, just in terms of what he can do for their team. He is pretty much their offense, and he's just Luka, and for schmucks is going to be a top half offensive team in the NBA. That's how good Luka is, and it's kind of a twist of the knife, twist of fate situation where originally Luka was suspended for the last game of the year because he had reached his 15th or 16th technical foul. That technical foul got rescinded, and then he was able to play in the finale. Sucks. He got hurt. As of right now, the Mavs aren't putting a timetable on the injury for Luka. They're just listing him with a calf strain and no timetable. The good news is he'll have almost a full week off, 6 days in between games from his last game and when the Mavericks play. The unfortunate part is calf injuries can linger. He could be good in a week or two. It could also take 2 months. We all remember Kevin Durant strained his calf his last year with the Warriors. He missed a while, and his first game back, he tore his Achilles. So you worry for Luka that he might not even be able to play at all in this series. And the betting odds, I think, are reflecting that. If Luka was playing, the Mavericks would probably be favored here. But obviously, every book you look, the FanDuel has him at plus 140, DraftKings at plus 135, BetMGM at plus 140, and the best odds you can get on them are plus 160 on Caesars. So if you thought that Luka was going to make a miraculous recovery, or if you thought that the Mavericks, just because of how much of a joke the Jazz have been to end the season, you can get them at pretty good odds. Like I said, plus 160 is pretty good for a team that would be favored if they were fully healthy, but it's tough. I mean, they're going to have to rely a lot on Jalen Brunson, who I like. He's a good player, but he's not a starting point guard, and he's certainly not the primary initiator and scorer that Luka is. I like Finney Smith as a role player. I like Maxi Kleber and Dwight Powell as role players. They have a good roster. I mean, and they had a great end to the season. Had some really, really impressive wins the last couple months of the season. They beat the Bucks, they beat the Celtics, they beat the Nets. They had some really, really impressive wins. Spencer Dinwiddie has been a good find for them after they traded away Porzingis, and that's really when the season started to take off. So you really feel for the Mavs. They could have made a run this postseason. They certainly, I think, would have beaten the Jazz, but without Luka, it's going to be really tough. And then on the Jazz side of it, this team was just begging to implode and have their season end. I think Donovan Mitchell's done playing with Rudy Gobert. I think he might be done playing in Utah. Granted, he has a ton of years left on his deal, so maybe if they trade Gobert, he can be happy. But this Jazz team, they're just ready. They're ready to go home. They've blown multiple huge leads and just really embarrassing fashion. Most notably, of course, to the Clippers, because that's exactly what happened in the playoffs last year. They build these big leads, then they blow them. And it's tough. I mean, they have a good roster. It's kind of funny. If you just look at the advanced analytics, even with the Jazz kind of scuffling towards the end of the year, they're consistently top 10 in net rating, no matter what time frame you look at. From March 1st on, from March 15th on, from March 31st on. Even though they have a roughly a 500 record and all that in that span, they kind of just tread water. They still have a top 10 net rating. The advanced analytics still love this team, but for whatever reason, they just can't seem to get it together. And I mean, for whatever reason, from a basketball sense, I can kind of understand it. They have weak wing defenders, and they rely a lot on Rudy Gobert in the paint. But what the best teams are able to do is they just play 5 out. They have 5 shooters on the court. You make Rudy Gobert guard the perimeter, which him in and of itself isn't bad at guarding the perimeter. The problem is when he's not in the paint, the Jazz give up penetration so easily that when he's not there, he's not there to guard the paint, they can either walk into a layup, or if he rotates over, they can just kick it out to the man that he was guarding for an open shot. So the Jazz defense, while it's analytically incredible with Gobert on the court, when you can put out 5 shooters, I mean, that's going to struggle with any team. I mean, even Joel Embiid, as good as a defender he is, doesn't like to guard the perimeter, so you can kind of understand that from Rudy Gobert's perspective. But either way, a team like the Mavs, who can play some shooters, who can spread the floor, they really could have done some damage against the Jazz in this one, and against Rudy Gobert specifically. But without Luka, I really can't see the Mavericks winning in this one. So what I thought would be kind of would be a nice way to hedge is, I could take the Mavs at plus 160, just straight up win the series. If Luka plays, if he's able to have just a miraculous recovery, that's going to be a great bet. Those odds are going to shift dramatically if somehow Luka's able to play in this game. And then what you could also do is on BetMGM, get the Jazz at minus 1.5, because you figure if Luka's not playing, then the Jazz will probably win. I think there's zero chance this series goes to 7 if Luka doesn't play in any of the games. And I think if he does play, then I think the Mavericks win. So you can kind of hedge your bets a little bit if you want to go that route. My official prediction is I think the Jazz win in 5. If something changes between now and when the series starts and Luka's able to play, I'll go to the Mavericks in 6. But I just think that it's going to be too much to overcome with Luka out. And it really, really sucks that the last game of the year, Luka gets hurt and we don't get to see this Mavs team fully healthy in the playoffs. And you worry even if he does come back, he won't be 100%. And you wonder how that's going to affect the team if he's not 100%. And you wonder how it's going to affect him. So all in all, pretty unfortunate for Luka. So I got to take the Jazz in 5 here. I don't feel great about it with how much the Jazz have been imploding, but it's rare a team can lose their best player in the playoffs and still win. The Clippers did it surprisingly with Kawhi out last year, but they had Paul George to rely on. The Mavericks don't quite have somebody as good as Paul George to rely on. So I got to roll with the Jazz here. Let me know what you think of the analysis. You can hit me up at my Twitter handle below. I would also appreciate a like, comment, and if you could click that plus button to the OddsJam YouTube channel, would be really beneficial. But as far as this video goes, that is all I got for you. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.